the risk of coming under Israeli attack. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, the United Nations says more than 40 people have been injured in gunfire at an aid distribution centre in Gaza. The US has ordered a pause in embassies scheduling appointments for student visas. India's approved a new stealth fighter jet project amid regional tensions with Pakistan, and Tesla's sales in Europe have dropped nearly 50% compared to the year before. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
You're listening to
Northern Light Public Radio
on 102.7
KCHW. Tooele.
KCHW headlines. I'm Chuck Ritchie. The Inland Northwest is taking a step towards a regional coordinated response to homelessness. Spokane County and its two largest cities have signed on to share info, hand out grants, work together on responses to weather emergencies, and plan future developments together. State law requires all Washington counties to adopt a 5-year homeless housing plan. Homeless people have often become easy targets for crime because they don't have strong community ties and people might not notice if something happens to them. This comes from the head of the National Coalition for the Homeless, who warns that shutting down encampments just forces people into more isolated and risky spots. And he worries that Trump's proposed HUD cuts like ending Section 8 rental assistance could lead to even more people winding up on the streets. And before Governor Ferguson signed the new state budget last week, he vetoed dozens of spending items. The roughly 55 items he removed add up to around $22.3 million in savings. He zeroed out funding contracts to nonprofits serving foster youth, college students, immigrants, and seniors, and he canceled spending for studies and work groups. In our last story, people in 3 southwest Washington counties can now take home some roadkill to eat. Fish and Wildlife is letting them take elk and black-tailed deer carcasses killed in crashes. But that doesn't apply to federally protected Columbian white-tailed deer. A free roadkill salvage permit must be obtained within 24 hours. For KCHW 102.7, I'm Chuck Ritchie. Good morning. It is your KCHW morning show. Oh, you know what I forgot, Scott? You know what I forgot?
What's that?
It's a Wednesday roundup. We're going to do this. Going back.
All right now. Come on, boy. Yeah.
Plus, I forgot to take a drink of my coffee before we started.
Good boy.
Yeah. Had to go backwards there a little bit. Had to take a sip of my coffee, actually. That was self-serving right there. Good morning again. Welcome to the KCHW Morning Show. We are here with myself, Chuck Ritchie, and the ever-lovely Scott Allen, on the other side, joining us from Maine this Wednesday while we get some stuff figured out with Paula and Sharon. Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Good morning, Chuck.
Ooh. Good morning. That sounds ominous, Scott.
Chuck.
Yes,
this
sir.
is your conscience.
Yes? Are you there?
You are in a lot of trouble.
Well, I knew that. Give me some news. Come on.
You've been a bad boy.
No, a big round of applause for Chuck Ritchie for pulling off Tooele's Got Talent 7.
Whoop, whoop. It was amazing. Really quick before we get into that, we have some special guests joining us for the second half of the show. We have a couple folks from the Columbia Community Creamery coming in, which I'm very excited about. We're not going to give spoilers here, which I already have on Facebook, but they have a new product that we're going to be talking about amongst some other things they got going on there.
Yes.
It
has something to do with radiation.
Exactly. No.
So stick around and find out.
But yeah, now we can talk about how awesome the show was over the weekend.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We had a great time. We obviously had some technical glitches, but I'm just going to gloss over that because you know what? That happens. The important part was it was an amazing show. We had some amazing talent. A lot of the people that were there, the feedback I got was really great. It was a polished show from beginning to end. You know, everybody was well rehearsed. We had our judges do a show. We had Daniel, who was one of our judges' husbands, who couldn't compete, but he brought down the house right before our intermission.
Wow.
It was a blast. We had Hannah Johnson back from last year. We also had her working with some kids that did some dancing. They won the People's Choice Award as well. Just a fun overall show. The winner.
Wow.
The winner.
Yes, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear first,
winner?
second, and third, and all that good stuff.
All right, well, we're going to start with third place. Lady by the name of Terry Tomlinson. She does a lot of work with the theater in Ponderay. Now she's actually going to do some work in the theater here, bringing her back home. She lives in Chewelah, but she goes to Newport all the time to do theater and stuff. So we're bringing her into
So
our
we brought her
theater
into the
program.
fold.
Yeah. Terry Tomlinson, she recited a couple poems that were just they brought the audience to tears.
Aw.
Really great stuff. Second place, again, same as last year, Caleb McCoy doing a song for us. He's an amazing singer, and I feel bad because he's always the bridesmaid. Maybe next year he'll come back and win.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. So it's second place 2 years in a row. Wow.
Right. Always the bridesmaid. And do you have a drum roll sound effect for our main prize winner?
I just have the thump thump. I don't
Yeah.
have a drum roll. So just
Womp womp.
that doesn't work, does it?
No. So our winner was a young man by the name of Matthew Tippich. Now Matthew comes to us from Northport. You've seen him out busking on the street first Thursday art walk. He came in, he did a song on piano. This kid comes in, he always wears a tux, or he always wears like an old fashioned, like a 1920 suit with the bow tie and his fedora, and he had his gloves on and his cane. And he just walked out, and just from the second he walks on stage to the second he walked off stage, he was in character. He was doing the performance. He was an absolute ton of fun. And we've invited him back to come back and play at Summerfest too.
All right. So what did he pick up as the grand prize? Because I know like we had some last minute donations for prize money.
The grand prize was $960, Scott.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a payday.
Right? We had $400 for Caleb for second place and $240 that Terry got for third place rather. And we decided we wanted to sort of spread the love around, so we decided to go with two different People's Choice Awards. We had bags laid out that everyone donated to for the winners. The winner that got the most in their bag got their bag full of money, and that was Deanna Reese, who she has sort of gotten her start around karaoke around here. It's not really start. She just, occasionally shows up at karaoke night. This woman, I swear to you, sounds like Janis Joplin when she sings.
All right.
She has the most amazing voice. And then we went ahead and did a 50-50 for the rest of it because we wanted to spread the love. And we did an applausometer. And the winner of the applausometer was Landon and Trinity, two young folks that learned their dance routine through stage time with Janet.
Wow.
And since auditions, they've been working with Janet. They've been working with last year's winner, Hannah Johnson, to really polish up their routine, get their smiles big. And man, it warmed my heart. And Catherine and myself were both in tears watching these kids perform. Because what they did during their audition, we saw something. The judges saw something. I saw something. Everybody saw something in these kids. They were in sync with each other. They had personalities. They just needed a little help, finishing their moves.
A little polish.
Yeah. So really, they were able to, Janet and Hannah working together to work with these kids really got them. Their routine was phenomenal. And they won the Audience Applause Award.
Nice.
So
nice.
It was a fun night. It was a fun night. And huge thank you
And
to all of our
packed
sponsors.
house, I'm guessing.
Yes, it was. Yes, we didn't quite sell out. I was hoping we'd sell out. We still had some empty seats, but you know what? That was kind of nice because then the other performers were able to sit out front and watch the show. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So good night overall. Thanks for all the participation.
Yes.
Why don't you give? I don't know if you need to pull up the poster, but maybe give a final thank you to any of the sponsors that you needed to. I know our spotlight sponsor was New Beam Internet, and you had a bunch of other ones. Do you have those top of mind?
I would love to actually. Yeah, I don't need the posters. I know them by heart. So yes, we had New Beam was our spotlight sponsor. They were huge in making all this happen. Really appreciate the work that they did to help. We have Chewelah Flooring, of course, our friends down the hall. We have the Chewelah Creative District. Gino and Sharon Ludwig. Richmond Logging was also a sponsor. We had some donations from Hart Hills Mountain and Saw, And you know what? The one that I can't remember the name of his business off the top of the head, but it's Robert Lee. Will Lee's dad donated that last little bit after hearing about us on the morning show, saying we're not quite to $1,600 in our prize money. So he went ahead and donated that last bit of money. And we also got a donation from the Warners, Steve and Cindy Warner.
Nice,
So
nice. Can I give them all a big round of applause?
The biggest, Scott.
Yeah, because you made the show happen, you guys. Nice.
Really did. And you know what's even better? We have the
What's
date
that?
next year. May 30th is going to be the main show. I don't have the dates off the top of my head for the auditions, but you know it's a little early for that anyway. I've got the posters already pre-made. I've got everything ready to go for next year.
You're already for the next one?
Like,
Wow.
yeah.
All right, good. All right, should I roll out some weather and then you can share what the kids are eating for breakfast? We kind of forgot that one. 89 today, you guys, with plenty of sunshine. Break out the shorts and the tank tops. 59 for an overnight low with a few passing clouds. That leads to a partly cloudy Thursday with a daytime high much more comfortable than 90, right around 77 with an overnight low of 48. Sun returns to Friday, 82 and 55. Clouds return for Saturday, 88 and 53. And Monday right now, partly cloudy with a high of 73. Did I get that right? I got. All right. Saturday, 88 and 53. Sunday, 73 and 48 with clouds. Monday, 44% chance of rain with a high of just 60. Let's see. There is a slight chance of rain tomorrow on our partly cloudy day with 77.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All
right.
Time to get out
And
there
your
and
weather
get my yard
forecast.
moved.
What are the kids munching on today?
So the kids, you better catch it fast. It's the rotating breakfast sandwich before it spins off the table, with with fruit or juice, right? Gotta catch them all. Or you can get a fruit breakfast parfait with granola. You can get a variety of cereal with cheese stick or yogurt, or bread or muffin with a cheese stick or yogurt as well. And then for lunch, the kids are having a cheeseburger with chips and fruit and veggie.
So I'm such a fast eater. Mom used to put a bowl of cereal in front of me and say, "You got 30 seconds till the bus gets here."
A cheeseburger. I've been on a cheeseburger kick lately. You know, for a long time with health stuff and weight loss stuff, I didn't touch them, right? And lately it seems like that's all I want is a cheeseburger. All day, every day, give me a cheeseburger. We go out for eat. What do you want? I want a cheeseburger. Yeah.
That burger.
I'm like one of those little kids, you know, we'll go to a Chinese restaurant. What do you want, Chuck? I want a cheeseburger. No.
And some fries.
Yeah.
Fries, please.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or my wife doesn't like it when I say, "Can I get a cheeseburger, Mommy?" No. I'm not going to do that.
Chuck, this is your conscience again.
That was wrong. That was wrong. Wow.
It's okay. I just don't like it when you call me mommy.
Right? I thought you did.
Yeah. No.
That's not what you said in your text message, Scott. All right. You ready to get into some, pardon me. You ready to get into some local events?
I'm sure. Tell me what's going on in the big city of Chihuahua. You look at this this new calendar from Chihuahua.events, and wow, it's packed full of goodies.
It is. And it is the new place to go. If you have an event to post, you can just post your event right there, and we will read it online. We're still going back and forth a little bit between the chamber calendar, but they are in the process of getting all that stuff switched over here. All right.
All right.
Speaking of the chamber, we have the deadline. If you are a member and you want to get your items in the newsletter, you have until noon today to get those over to Chloe over there at the front office. Then we have adult pickleball at the old middle school, or rather, not the old middle school. They're back up at the golf course for the summer. That's at 243 Par Place. That is happening in 1 hour from now, from 8:30 to 11:30. Then we have, the Tech Help is tomorrow. That got moved. It's Community Bingo Night. Fired Up Pizza, they're hosting Community Bingo. You can just go on in there and play bingo. Let's see, the Chihuahua Food Bank is open tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Senior Citizen Center at 302 East Main Avenue. Then it is the tech support at the Chihuahua Library from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's where they have a bunch of 10-year-olds telling you how to use your phone. No, they've got some folks there that are going to help you run through stuff if you need help with your phone, with your computer, any tech stuff. They can help you out with that. I'm not sure the format of that. I don't know if they have like an expert there or if they're just like the librarians that know tech stuff. So
I think and that's what it is. And you can bring your phone, your tablet, your laptop, and get some assistance.
It's kind of a cool service because I know a lot of people have troubles with that.
Yeah, especially as elderly folks.
And they come to me, and I'm well, just do the thing, just do it. I'm not good at telling people how to do tech stuff, Scott. I'm okay.
Hey,
I'm okay.
I built a radio station out of paper clips and chewing gum.
Right? Don't forget the duct tape, Scott.
Oh yeah, and you're still stepping in it.
Right? I got something on my shoe this morning. I wasn't sure what that was.
I'm sure there's lots of times where you're doing something around the building and you see something odd and go, "Gee, thanks, Scott."
I plead the fifth, Scott. I plead the fifth.
I can tell this is some of Scott's work because it's like a spider web of wires. I added so much stuff in the studio. When it started out, it was all nice and organized, but we didn't have much. And as every new piece of equipment came in, new wires and battery backups and all this stuff, and pretty soon you looked behind the mixing board there, and you just kind of went, "Oh my gosh!" Every time I was on the radio and the cat walked back there, I just kind of held my breath because that tail's going to get wrapped around something and unplug it.
And 2 years later, I've just about got it figured out enough to clean it up, Scott.
All right, yay! Yeah.
It's fun when you enter it into like Chat GPT when you're trying to figure out, okay, why is this run this way? And Chat GPT goes and just stops. No.
Yeah.
But you know what? It works. It works, and it's been working for years, and you did it, and I really, really admire all the stuff you've done here. It's incredible, Scott.
I had a real a radio engineer one time. He was it was another radio station in Spokane trying to flip their consultant onto us, but we couldn't afford him. And he was asking me, because I was having some technical difficulties, he was asking some of the gear and stuff we were using. And he literally came back and said, "You can't do that." And I said, "Well, it doesn't violate any, rules or anything like that." And he's like, "No, you have to have this piece of equipment called an Optimod." And I said, "No, you don't. I'm the same volume as every other radio station on the dial, and I don't use one, and I save $10,000. And he's like, "But you can't do that." And I'm like, "Well, you can't, but I can."
But I did it.
Yeah. So yeah, somebody was trying to flip us a consultant, that would have probably cost us like $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you put our 15 years together, we might be up around that kind of money, but probably not.
Instead, you get me.
Yes, I'm over exaggerating, on that, but not at the price of a consulting engineer. That's some expensive stuff. So what you got, imagine. Chuck, was for free. So there you go. It was all for free.
You know what? That's why we have sponsors, and that's why we always are asking for stuff.
Yep, and I did that before Chat GPT.
Yeah,
with no. And that's the thing, that I kind of put in my cap is I had spent at that point when I started the station about, 28 years behind the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in front of the microphone, I should say, which is kind of behind the microphone. But in just doing all the internal stuff of the station, being a music director, a program director, a DJ, I'd done all that kind of stuff. But engineering, I have no college for it, no experience. So that's, there was a lot going into it, but that's one of the feathers I carry in my hat is that I figured out the electronic engineering and how transmitters work. I mean, I didn't realize, I knew, about microwave transmission from site to site, and that if you stand in front of one of those dishes, it cooks you from the inside out and all that kind of stuff. But I really didn't even realize that all FM radio is another microwave transmission, and that if you stand in front of our antennas, it cooks you from the inside out. but I didn't realize that FM was basically, and the transmitters were the exact same technology as how they transmit from tower to tower, Motorola signals for the police. It's all microwaves. But my knowledge of engineering when I started this was so less than basic. I didn't know that. So.
What I love though, Scott, is I can trace all these wires and I can see 12 years of your thought process.
I think I know what he was trying to do.
Let's unplug this,
Well,
unplug this in. Oh, that works. Yeah.
we had we had no radio gear.
Yeah.
Radio gear is all specialized and very expensive. So I'm using band gear and regular computers instead of broadcast computers, and hooking two mixing boards together because we didn't have enough channels with one, and all sorts of weird little stuff like that it took to make it work. And DJs, for a lot of your shows, you need to preview stuff before it goes out over the air. Maybe you're going to talk over the beginning of a song,
Right.
So a lot of people, everybody knows their computer has a sound card, but almost every one of our computers that can be used for audio needs 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And it can be done, but I did it with non-industry specific equipment, and it was a huge learning curve. And then I left a mess for Chuck.
Well,
But it works.
Not only that, you set up one of the very first streaming radio stations in the country.
I did.
Yeah.
We were broadcasting our morning show here in Chihuahua before anyone in the country was broadcasting their morning show via video as well. Now, of course, it's Chihuahua, so we got no attention for that. But back in the beginning, we were playing music and everything and streaming live. And then all the record companies got together and went, no, we want to double dip. They can't play it on the radio and on a video. So that we used to do like segments of the morning show with a few songs in between, reset, do it again.
Yeah.
And we had to switch to all talk because of the music licensing and the video and stuff. But it's all worked out. It's too bad we can't stream the radio station on YouTube 24 hours a day anymore. That was kind of nice. But
Just a live feed of the studio with nobody in it most of the time.
yeah, but when a DJ was on at night, there was always somebody there. And when you left in the morning, you put it on. What I always put it on was our sponsors, our rotating banner from the website that shows all of our members. I would leave that on while the music played. So if you did log on to YouTube, you were seeing all the people that support our public radio station.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, really too bad. I fought with YouTube actually over this because I could prove that we pay our music licensing, and they said, "Well, we don't have a system in place for this," and I'm like, "Well, why not?"
and they still don't.
And they still don't.
Day,
and
yeah.
None of the video streaming platforms have anything in place to prove that you've paid your music licensing. They just block you, or they don't block you while you're live. They block you after the fact, so nobody can come back and watch it. So
Yeah.
I went way too in-house. I'm eating up your time. I should
that's
shut
okay.
up.
That's okay, because we got time to kill today. So
All right. Well, we killed a bunch.
right? So then we're gonna skip the events committee meeting. That's more in-house stuff. Then
Okay.
tomorrow night, let's see, is that we were on tomorrow already. Tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. at Guest Elementary School is the Stevens County Healthcare Forum. There's going to be a bunch of folks here from local healthcare providers, regional healthcare providers. They're going to be talking about how healthcare is going to be affected by budget cuts from the federal and the state level, because we're getting double whammied in Washington State, especially. We have that huge budget gap statewide that our state lawmakers are trying to cut. We've got federal cuts coming. Washington State, especially rural areas in Washington State, are going to get hit hard by budget cuts. And this is going to be, it's all factual. That this is not a political one way or the other. There's not going to be any arguing. It's just insider information from healthcare and what these cuts are going to end up doing to our healthcare, especially in rural areas like ours. You can contact.
It's horrible.
It is. And one of the things, because they asked me to come help them run the tech for this and run their Zoom call and stuff. So I'm going to be there running that. One of the things that I got from these meetings that I didn't realize before is a lot of hospitals, especially hospitals with older residents, like where we live, the gap that Medicaid provides is what keeps the doors open. And with these Medicaid cuts, if they go through, a lot of hospitals are going to close down. And areas like ours, there's going to be hospitals that are the only service in the area for people that are going to be shut down. Because that's what they use to bridge their gap, is these government programs, and without it, they can't afford to keep their doors open. They can't afford the staff, they can't afford to run their programs. So it's not just going to affect the people that are using the Medicaid; it's going to affect everybody.
And I know you said you don't want to make it political, but this is the problem with I think healthcare and the government overall. Why are you targeting the people that need it?
Right.
Okay. Why are you not targeting pharmaceutical companies when the pharmaceutical companies globally charge Americans like 80% more than any other country?
Right.
The pharmaceutical companies have gotten rich off of gouging Americans. Well, you might have had to pay $100, a month, and then that'd be a low one for your medication. The same person in a third world country can get that month's worth of medication for $1.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So they've gotten ridiculously wealthy off Americans. And why? Because of money shortfalls, are we targeting Americans instead of the pharmaceutical companies? Because they need to sell their drugs. They want to sell their drugs. Why don't we make them sell them for less?
Well,
and leave people's insurance intact. It's a sad situation.
I could put insurance companies right up there with the pharmaceutical companies for price gouging, because I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people in America have is that healthcare is expensive. It's not. Insurance is expensive. the money from what you pay to insurance that actually trickles down. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, the doctor, if we do, public health care, the doctors won't be able to afford it. They won't work there because they're not going to make enough money." Well, that's not true, because the amount of money that trickles down from our current healthcare system that actually makes it to our doctors is very, very little. The insurance companies take about 90% of what you pay.
I'm sure they're all just as rich, right?
Oh, it's atrocious. I just realized my volume is really quiet. Sorry, we got on a soapbox
there. You go. You sound so much better now. I thought it was just on my end.
Oh no, I was just looking over at my meters and I was barely coming through. Sorry, everybody.
That's the thing I always tell DJs: turn up your headphones till you're about ready to go deaf, so you can hear what's going on.
Right. We still haven't. We got off on a tangent there. We still haven't made it through all of our activities. We have tomorrow evening Craig Meyer karaoke. He's going to be singing it up at the Oasis from 8:30 to 11:30. And I say that because we have a lot of our performers and stuff that have come from Craig's karaoke nights. Case in point, Reese, Deanna Reese, who just won one of the awards over the weekend. She went out of her shell. She went out of her comfort zone through karaoke, and was her friends and family convinced her to come try out for the show, and she was amazing. So karaoke is always a good way to get. It's more than just cheesy bar stuff. Yeah. Then Friday morning, we have the Chamber of Commerce meeting at the Mistquack Cafe from 7 to 8 a.m. Then adult pickleball back up at the golf course at 243 Parr Place from 8:30 to 11:30. Then, of course, we have the Chewelah Farmers Market from 11 to 3:30 on Friday, where you will be able to capture me live in captivity at the farmers market. I'll be there. We're gonna have some music playing. Let's see. I don't.
Somebody cages you. I want a picture.
Right? I would do it. I would do it if for a donation.
So, I also saw on Facebook a post by Jessica Setti about them reopening Setti's Hardware in the old location. Would you please go over there and take a picture for me, Chuck? I want to see it.
I will. You know what? I need to.
I want to see the new Setties. I want to see it really bad. I posted it on their feed that I'd really like a picture, but nobody sent me one yet. And I thought maybe I could send you over there. I want a picture.
Yeah.
I can't see it from here.
Yeah, they're opening up Monday.
Wow.
Monday.
Yeah, I want pictures. I want to see some pictures beforehand. All right. So next time you're outside, walk over there.
I'm gonna call Paul out here. I've been trying to get him on the show to talk about it forever. Finally agreed to go on the show. They had an opening date originally scheduled for August. I think August 23rd was their original scheduled date. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go on the morning show. I've got him scheduled for August 20th." And then last week they're like, "Hey, we're going to open early," which I'm super excited about. So that's the main point. They're opening earlier, and that's amazing. But we're not going to get Paul on before then. But that's okay, because it's been a huge hole in the community not having the. I mean, they've had their makeshift store up and going. It's been amazing. But, those poor workers, they've been out there in the cold, out in the heat, and they're probably going to be so grateful to be back inside of a building with heat and air conditioning. I can't even imagine. Wow.
Hey, you got somebody walking in behind you. It looks like they have a knife. No.
Oh, no.
No knife?
A cheese knife, maybe.
A cheese knife. Oh.
All right. So
I got the next one for Saturday if you want. You've been are you running out of breath?
I am. Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
All right, 10 to 3 on Saturday at Guess Elementary. Very cool. Thank you, Chihuahua Chamber of Commerce, hosting a small business expo. This is an opportunity for businesses and local people to get out and connect, discover new services, and support for our community entrepreneurs, or as I call myself, an entrepreneur.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so there's going to be door prizes, vendors, food, and more. This is a great opportunity to, especially if you're looking at doing some home improvements, grounds improvements over the summertime. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of contractors out there. I remember one time in March talking to one of our contractors, local contractors, who was at the chamber's what do you call that? The spring,
The Home and Garden Show.
the home and garden show.
Yeah.
Thank you. At the end of the home and garden show, I had interviewed him during it, and he came up to me and he says, if all of the leads that I got today pan out, it's almost enough work for the entire summer.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of places and these things that the chamber is doing is a great way for businesses and the people that need them to connect like that, where you can actually have some one-on-one and tell them what you're dreaming of in the backyard. I'm dealing with that over here. I need a windbreak.
Yeah.
And you never know what you might be able to find there or who you might be able to connect with. So that's on Saturday, 10 to 3, Guess Elementary. Small Business Expo, courtesy of the Tweedle Chamber of Commerce.
And that is actually a follow-up from the Home and Garden Show, because what they were finding as it was filling up so much, and so many people wanted to be vendors at it, that they decided to make two. So one was just home and garden, one were just the people doing landscaping and contracting work, and this one is for the other businesses that just wanted to get their business out there.
Cool.
So yeah. So this is
so great way to connect with everybody, and a lot of times you're going to find stuff that you didn't even know was available. That people are doing, like you're saying, entrepreneurs. They might be doing something from their home, so they don't have a storefront, and you'll go, I had no idea I could get that in Chihuahua. So what a great thing.
I will have to say, last year there was somebody there that had these homemade flavored olive oils and vinegars. I'm out. So if we get some more of that, please. Thank you. I'd appreciate it.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. I need more.
All right.
I need my fix.
So you got guests standing behind you. Who's on the show coming up in the second hour? I know it's the Chihuahua Creamery. Do you know what kind of guests you have?
I don't know what kind of guests we have, but I know their names.
Okay. Is one of them Brad?
One of them is Brad Schaefer. He's sitting over here behind me.
I was hoping to see Brad today. All right.
Well, I don't think he can hear you, but Scott's excited, Brad. So we have Brad, and my brain is throwing a brain. Victoria, right? Virginia. I knew it was a V. I'm sorry. I knew it was like that, but Virginia. Sorry, my bad. I know your name. All right. I don't keep any of it straight ever. That's a problem. All right, so we got a few more minutes before we need to take our break. Do you want to take a break early and give them some more airtime?
Oh, well, let's go 1 week ahead with the events,
maybe,
and see if there is anything we're missing in the beginning of the week. And then I'm totally cool if you want to do birthdays and go to break, and then we can come back and talk to our guests.
Perfect. Oh, Sunday you can catch the Dinosaurs over there again at Fired Up Pizza. This is another music event where the public's invited to join. You don't even necessarily have to buy anything while you're there, but there's a lot of great musicians. A lot of projects have come from that Blues and Brews Jam, and that's hosted by the Dinosaurs, which of course is Sally, Doug, Dino. I don't know Dino's last name. He's just Dino.
Yeah, but, and maybe we shouldn't say it because that's what he goes by.
Dino.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
It's just Dino. We won't.
Right. Looking ahead at next week, Chuck, I see all the normal stuff with the pickleballs and chamber newsletter that you just talked about and that type of stuff. But I see something different on Thursday, and it's the beginning of June, so it's our first Thursday art walk coming up on Thursday the 5th.
Yes, it is. And you know what? They just had the Plein Air event last weekend where there were artists all around town painting, drawing. I've seen there were a bunch at the Friday market doing their sketches and stuff. So we're going to have on Wednesday at 4 p.m., it's our normal About the Art show with Tim from the Trails End Art Gallery. He's going to be coming on talking about what to expect for that display. That's become a really great annual event now, to where it's the artwork that comes out of that is phenomenal. And he gets hundreds of submissions. And I think this year there have been more artists than ever sign up for that one. So I really want to hear what Tim has to say about that.
You'll have an interview with the new 2-month artist on Wednesday the 4th.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's usually air at what, 4 o'clock?
Yep, 4 p.m. on the Wednesday before the first Thursday.
Art walk. So they can do their interview and then they can go to the artist talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
Exactly.
That works out great. All right. So don't forget that next Thursday at 5 p.m. Then your usual Friday stuff with the Chamber of Commerce meeting, adult pickleball. You've got the Chihuahua Farmers Market again on Friday the 6th. And then I'm looking at the calendar, and right now, this is a rarity in Chihuahua, Saturday, June 7th, there is nothing on the calendar, Chuck. So you know what that means? You want to know?
What?
It's nothing for you to do. Don't sigh. It means camping day.
Ooh.
That's your first camping day if you haven't went yet. June 7th. Nothing going on in Chihuahua. There you go.
No, that I wasn't sighing. That was a breath of relief.
All right, one more time. I don't believe you, Chuck.
You know what I did after the talent show on Saturday?
What?
I went home. I slept for 15 straight hours.
What? Well, I've done a few Chihuahua's Got Talent, and that's what doing a big show. I mean, you did more than a concert.
Oh yeah.
There's a ridiculous amount. If you add up all the man hours that go into that, you're looking at about 500 or 600 hours.
Oh yeah.
Of people's time, if not more, to pull that show off.
Oh,
so you deserve that 15 hours, Chuck.
Thank you. Well, it's everything from it's the sponsors and multiple weekends of auditions, and then organizing everybody. Organizing that many people into a show is a lot more than, one band that shows up 2 hours before showtime and says, "All right, we're here, let's go." So, and before we go to break, I want to let everyone know too that we have the Igor and the Red Elvises show coming up June 30th. It's coming up really soon, and that one I'm really excited about. It is going to be on a Monday night, but they were stopping here they're doing a show in Portland, they're doing a show in Spokane, and then they're going to be doing a show in Seattle. Our good friend Craig McQuain with Old Souls and Antiques.
So lucky.
What's that?
We're so lucky.
We are, and these guys, they've been around for 30 years. They've had PBS did a documentary on them. They've been featured in like Spin magazine. They have this worldwide cult following, and they are a ball of laughs. They are so much fun. You can check them out on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos with them performing. Igor has this really thick Ukrainian accent, and they go 110% every second they're on stage, and they are a blast. And
excellent.
This is one of those that Craig set up, and from the day Craig started here as a Friday morning show, co-host, he was like, "Oh man, you got to check these guys out," because we were talking about Gogo Bordello, and he's like, "No, you got to check these out. If they ever come up, I really want them to come play." And sure enough, they were in the Pacific Northwest, and he got them to swing up here and play.
No way.
So really, really looking forward to that one. Tickets are probably going to get up for sale early next week. We're going to work on that over the weekend.
Okay.
Now we can take a breath.
All right.
You ready for a break?
So are we? Yeah, I think so. Can I do before we go? And you're gonna have to pull up sponsors and stuff early since we're coming in early. It is the top of the hour. 8:01 KCHW Chihuahua. I'm trying to give you main time. It's really hard when you look at a clock to subtract 3 hours as you're talking.
Right.
So, it's KCHW Chihuahua. We're going to thank the sponsors and deliver some news and get our guests all seated and be back to talk to some awesome folks from our Columbia Creamery. And this morning's quick joke, Chuck. Are you ready?
I'm ready. What you got?
All right. Here, let me play something. Okay. This morning's quick joke. Two elderly women were talking. One said, the preacher came to call the other day and he said, "At your age, you should be thinking of the hereafter." I told him, "Oh, I do that all the time, no matter where I am. In the living room, upstairs, in the basement, in the kitchen. I ask myself, what am I hereafter?" What what's scary is I do that about 40 times a day. What was I looking for? Why did I come here?
Every
What did
day.
Yes.
I got up the other day, the remote for the air conditioner got left on the kitchen table. And my wife's like, hey, can you get up and get the remote? I got up, I let the dogs out. I got a snack. I refilled my drink. I did a couple other things. I sat back down and my wife looks at me and says, Chuck, the remote.
Well, that's a sign. You're ready for the hereafter.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to thank our sponsors, listen to some news. We'll be right back with myself, Chuck, and our guests from the Columbia Community Creamery. We'll be right back, everybody.
And Scott.
And Scott. I said Scott. I included you second. Second, right. I think. Maybe.
Always forgetting about
All right. Never. Here we go, Scott.
Check your conscience, Chuck.
I don't have one.
We'll be back after the break for fun feedback.
It's 8:03.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public Radio on 102.7 KCHW. Chewelah, Colville, Kettle Falls.
The Public News Service DOA newscast, May the 28th, 2025. I'm Mike Clifford. President Donald Trump has signed full pardons for imprisoned reality show couple Todd and Julie Crisley, who were sentenced to lengthy prison terms in 2022 for a conspiracy to defraud banks out of more than $30 million, according to a White House official. That from CNN. They report in addition to the bank fraud convictions, they were also found guilty of several tax crimes, including attempting to defraud the Internal Revenue Service. And from Politico, President Donald Trump Tuesday accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of playing with fire as Moscow continues battering Ukraine in the face of Trump's attempts to broker a peace deal to end the war. They quote Trump in a social media post as saying, what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia, and I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. And with looming budget cuts to Medicaid, advocates are sounding the alarm about the potential impact on community health centers in New York and nationwide.
It's estimated the House budget cuts to Medicaid funding would mean more than 8 million people lose their health coverage across the nation, including as many as 1 million in New York. These cuts would fall especially hard on community health centers, or CHCs, the nonprofit safety net clinics created by Congress in 1965